Welcome back, everybody, to the Meeple Marathon. Today we have another big unboxing, this time of Marvel United. This is all of the Wave 2 content from Marvel United, where the only thing that was part of Wave 1 was the core box here, which we have already opened. You can see that this one is no longer in shrink. But if we take that one away, everything else that you see here is what we're going to take a look at today. So you've got the Infinity Gauntlet, Guardians of the Galaxy, Rise of the Black Panther, Tales of Asgard, Return of the Sinister Six, Enter the Spiderverse, and then we have all of the stretch goal content, which is in this box here, including the Adam Warlock and Yondu specific characters. So strap in, because we are about to take a look at a lot of miniatures. Alright, so let's start with the stretch goal box. Some amazing artwork on the front and, wrapped all around the sides here. It's basically, picking up some of these other characters, but just in different poses. Let's see if this is the same way. Yeah, okay. For the most part, this is just a giant box of miniatures, but the cards for the characters are going to be in here as well. But there's no additional area boards or tokens or things like that. It should just be cards and some of the larger boards, I guess, for the enemies, and then a whole bunch of miniatures. And here you can see all of the miniatures that are going to be in this box. There are 33 heroes, 11 villains, almost 400 hero cards, 132 master plan cards, 66 threat cards, 11 villain dashboards, and 10 tokens. I guess some of these guys are coming with their own unique tokens to put out, which is cool. So let's slide this open. And you can see that typical CMON style here. They've got everything in like these cardboard boxes that are pretty decent to pull out. But it's like probably 2 levels of miniatures here, and then all the cards and stuff beneath. What is nice is that the box itself is giving you a really nice representation of everybody that's here in the game. So as we spin around the box here, you can see everybody that we're going to be showing off here in a minute. And there's all the bad guys. Okay, so let's actually just slide this backwards here for a second and take a look at this. So that says top tray, okay, and this says bottom tray. Now, we do have these guys here. These guys came in separate boxes. I thought for a minute that the Yondu character had a spot to be fit into the Guardians of the Galaxy, so we'll have to see about that. But we can go ahead and open them up and put them in their spots once we get everything opened here. But it's really nice that they give you this layout so that you can get everything back into the box. So go ahead and slide everything out here. Okay, so lots to look at here. Where to start? I guess let's just kind of start at the bottom and work our way up here. So first we have the great Baron Zemo. So I'm just gonna set this guy up over here so you guys can get a closer look at him. And then who is this? Is this Kang? Yeah. So here we have Kang. Again, all these dynamic bases, which is really cool. These are by far and away probably the best miniatures that I have seen most of these companies come out with, but CMON definitely does a really nice job with their miniatures in general. So here is Kang, almost too tall for my camera. Let's scoot him back just a scotch. Alright, and then this will be Carnage. So I should have Venom in here somewhere. This is Carnage. And okay, so this is Venom, and I believe I have a second Venom that's going to be a good guy. So he's like busting down a safe door or something. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you can kind of see the safe door. But there's Venom. And Hela. So even though there is a Thor box, she's actually not part of the what will be the retail box. So she is in the stretch goal box. And then Dormammu? Yeah, Dormammu. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think Dormammu may be from Ghost Knight? Or Ghost Rider, maybe? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what realm he is from. Alright, moving on to the next row. We have Corvus Glaive here. Again, I'm not really sure where Corvus comes into play either. There he is. And MODOK, the giant brain. This guy always reminds me of Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Just basically a floating brain. This guy's more of just a floating head with arms and legs. But there he is. And Kingpin, I know he's with Spider-Man. So again, we have a whole Spiderverse expansion, but he will not be part of the Spiderverse retail expansion. And Bullseye with his throwing knives. It's a very dynamic pose. And then Rhino. He's very menacing looking. It's like tearing up the street as he runs along, rampages along. Alright, so there is Rhino. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is all the villains. Yep. Everything else in this box is going to be blue. So who do we have next? This looks like it will be Hawkeye. And War Machine. Almost said Iron Man for a minute, but we already got ourselves Iron Man. He's not quite as dynamic a base as Iron Man. He's kind of cool, but he's not quite Iron Man. We all know that. And Falcon. It's cool. His wings have like a curve to them. They're not just completely flat. this looks like Nick Fury with the eye patch. He looks mad. He looks pissed off. And Miss Marvel. She's got a little bit of stretch to her. Looks a little stretchy, a little stretched out there. She's standing on top of what appears to be a street light. And Squirrel Girl with a little tiny squirrel on her base. See the little squirrel. And Doctor Strange. It's cool that they got his like mystic circles going on there. Figured out a way to add those on. And they, you know, I mean, they're not bad. They're not super fragile, but I certainly wouldn't want to mess with them. Vision, who, that's cool, he's like coming through the wall. So there's his foot on one side of the wall, and he's like coming through the wall. That's cool. It's a cool miniature. There you can see him coming through the wall. And Scarlet Witch. Suppose they put Vision and Scarlet Witch next to each other on purpose, and then next to Quicksilver on purpose. I bet they did. This is cool. It looks like he's coming to a stop. Quicksilver. And last but not least, it's the chick from Black Panther, the warrior bodyguard. What is her name? Okoye. Is the top tray. There's a little protective tray underneath. So now we've got the bottom tray. So here we have Nova. It's a decent thematic base there. Nebula, again, there is a Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, kind of full expansion, but Nebula is a stretch goal. And same thing with Mantis here. And Drax. I'm kind of surprised Drax is not in the Guardians of the Galaxy core box. So they're actually missing a lot of premier characters from that box. So we'll definitely have to see who is in the main box here soon. So there's Drax. Oh, and here is Howard the Duck. And so these two spots here were based upon whether or not you backed certain levels of the game. So we have these two separate boxes here which simply hold just the miniatures and the cards. And so Yondu normally fit just like that. And Adam Warlock here going to fit just like that. So it is nice that they had created these extra kind of unique special figurines based on your pledge level, but then gave you a space to put them. So they kind of interrupted the whole Guardians of the Galaxy row though with Howard the Duck. But here's Yondu with his what is that thing called? Whistler? I know he whistles to it, but it's a cool dynamic feature on him. Alright, then moving right along, we have American Chavez. She's got like stars built into her base. She-Hulk. And here is Moon Knight. He's got one of the cooler bases. He's up on top of some cathedral or something. Definitely put more effort into this one than a lot of the others. Blade. And here is Ghost Rider, which I guess that's Ghost Rider. It doesn't really look like Ghost Rider to me. The chain looks like Ghost Rider, but the face doesn't. And here is Adam Warlock. Again, he came separately. Mockingbird. Here is Spider-Woman. She's got cool base. She's like on a rope, probably holding up a bridge or something. Like metal cables. And Shang-Chi. and this is Spider-Man 2099. Not super familiar with his storyline, but again, there's a whole Enter the Spiderverse expansion we're going to see here soon. But this particular Spider-Man was a stretch goal. Okay, so here is the hero Venom. So this is what was in the Walmart exclusive boxes. So some people, if you couldn't wait and you went out and bought the box from Walmart, you're going to have two of these. I guess you're going to have two of all of the main characters as well. And Black Cat. The Iron Fist. Elektra. It's got a lot of hair going on. I guess her bandana's back there too. And Daredevil. He's another one of the taller miniatures. He's got kind of a cool base too. Looks like he's standing on top of a gargoyle that has lost his head, maybe. And Luke Cage. Jessica Jones. And last but not least in the stretch goal box is the Punisher. I believe this is who Rodney Smith from Watch It Played was begging and begging and begging for and finally got. So there is his Punisher miniature with an excellently large gun. Okay, so that is all of the stretch goal content. Let me clean this up and we'll take a look at probably just some of the dashboards for the villains so we can understand how they play, and maybe briefly look at the cards for the heroes, but otherwise it's a lot of cards to go through. So here is the bottom of the box, basically with all of the cards. There does not appear to be that there is enough room here to sleeve all your cards and still fit them in these trays, especially the hero cards up here at the top come pretty close to the top already. There's a little bit of room down here with the villain cards, but for the most part it does not look like you're going to be able to sleeve these cards and keep them all in this lower area. You'll probably have to keep just the hero cards down here and then find someplace else for the villain cards. There's also this. Okay, so this is the last content that's in the stretch goal box. There are these tokens here that have KO on them, and then these numbered tokens which all say plan on the back. So they must equate to someone here in the master plan. But let's take a look at these. The cards, for the most part, should have all of the same symbols on them, at least from the stretch goal box, because I don't think that they're going to be changing the way the game plays. But this here, the villains, is how you're going to gain a lot of variety from gameplay to gameplay. So let's see. Venom, when a hero is KO'd, so there's those KO'd tokens. Venom doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, he plays another master plan card. Villainous plot: the heroes lose when all heroes are out of the game. A hero is out of the game when they accumulate this number of crisis tokens. So in a 2-player game, if you acquire 8 crisis tokens, then you are defeated. Okay. And then we have Rhino. Bam. Deal damage to each hero in Rhino's location equal to the number of locations he entered this turn. Then move all damaged heroes 1 location clockwise. Okay. Special rules: when a hero is KO'd, Rhino doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, give that hero a crisis token. If a hero has any crisis tokens, they must play their next card face down in the storyline, then discard all crisis tokens. That's interesting. So I wonder if you don't get to do anything that turn. It's like losing a turn. What's interesting to note here is that they did not include an instruction manual of any sort. So all of these rules and terminology that are on these cards hopefully is going to be explained somewhere. So here is MODOK. Special setup: set aside the Preparation Master Plan card and place it on top of the deck after shuffling it. So MODOK, when MODOK has to flip a hero card, take the face-up hero card closest to the start of the storyline and flip it face down. Face down cards are treated as blank. BAM. Flip 1 hero card. The heroes lose if all hero cards in the storyline are face down. Kingpin. Shuffle these 6 plan tokens and place 1 on each location with the number facing up. When a hero is KO'd, Kingpin doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, he plays another Master Plan card. The heroes lose when Kingpin has discarded all 6 plan tokens. Okay. Kang. When a hero is KO'd, Kang doesn't activate his BAM. Okay, this special rule, I'm not going to keep reading it. If Kang is in a location, deal 2 damage to each hero. Deal 1 damage to each hero in adjacent locations. If Kang is out of play, interesting. So I guess he can, travel in time and actually leave the board. Special setup: set aside the Banished Master Plan card and place it on top of the deck after shuffling it. Hela starts the game on the villain dashboard. Okay, Hela can't take any damage as long as the Fenris Wolf threat is in play. Alright. All heroes lose if all the heroes are KO'd at the same time. Dormammu. Remove 2 random, or 1 random, or no changes. Okay. Alright, so he's got a track similar to the Red Skull. Dormammu can never be damaged. However, he is defeated after his last Master Plan card is resolved. When 2 missions are completed, remove the top card of the Master Plan deck from the game. When a hero is KO'd, Dormammu doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, advance the ritual track by the number of heroes. Okay, Corvus Glaive. Okay, I think Corvus Glaive actually is also in the Thor universe, now that I think about it. Special rules: when he's KO'd, when a hero is KO'd, they get a KO token. The heroes lose when they have a number of KO tokens equal to the number of heroes. Okay. Carnage. Here's another track. Whenever a hero is KO'd, increase the spawn track by 1. When this track reaches 10, the heroes lose. Bullseye. Let's see. If bystanders or thugs token can't be added to a location, the heroes lose. Wow. The heroes also lose when they have a number of KO tokens equal to the number of heroes. Man, that seems tough. And last but not least is Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo is a hero with any crisis tokens at the end of their turn must use each of these tokens to cover 1 symbol on the bottom of the card they played this turn, keeping any leftovers. Symbols covered by crisis tokens do not grant actions to heroes. Alright, so that, ladies and gentlemen, is everything in the stretch goal box. So let's start going through some of the themed box expansions. Alright, next up we are going to take a look at the Infinity Gauntlet expansion. Honestly, I can't remember which of these are going to be released to retail, which ones were considered Kickstarter exclusives, but either way, this one has one of the more interesting aspects. It actually has the Infinity Gauntlet with some gems, and this is actually nothing but bad guys in it, and I believe you're going to have to deal with them all at once. So let's take a look here at what's inside this pack. Again, they're continuing with the theme of putting the characters around the outside of the box, which is cool. So this one does come with a rule book, which is nice. Explaining to you the special rules, finding the Infinity Stones, first 3 games, Infinity Battles, overview, embark on a series of 4 games. So, it's almost like a little mini campaign, I guess. Everything appears to look, for the most part, normal, but, activating power-ups, okay. So that's new. So some interesting stuff going on here. Looks like a lot of locations here. Let's take a look at these. Hala. You may swap a card from your hand with one of your face-up cards in the storyline. Okay. Nidvalir. Sanctum Sanctorum. Okay, Asgard, Vormir. Oh, so these are all places that the Infinity Stones have been. New York, Wakanda Fields, the Sanctuary. I'm pretty sure that's his ship. Thanos' palace. There is a lot here. There's actually more locations here than there were in the main game. Avengers Mansion. And then back to Hala. That's pretty impressive. This is a thick stack of locations here. So let's take a look at what we have in here. And there you can see the Infinity Gauntlet peeking out from below. So you have a new villain dashboard that's double-sided. Hero unlocks this power-up card. Okay. And on the back side, it says each hero immediately draws 1 card. So this one appears to be the normal villain side dashboard. This one, however, this is different over here. Alright, and here's some of the dashboard, the villain dashboards. Heroes lose if the number of heroes eliminated from the game equals the starting number of heroes. When a hero is KO'd, Thanos doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, the hero is eliminated from the game and replaced by a new hero. So I'm wondering if your 4 games is versus these 4 minions, Thanos being the last one. That one doesn't really have much to it. Proxima Midnight. Bam. Villainous Plot. When this track reaches 12, the heroes lose. And Ebony Maw. Here. So yeah. Those are not what's nearly as exciting as this bad boy right here. So it's not it's not solid plastic. It is, it feels a little cheap. It's basically made of the same stuff that these inserts are made of. So if you were to accidentally drop something heavy on it, it would probably crush it. But it does appear to function as it needs to. So there you can see some of the stones sitting in it. And it gets the job done. Stick them in that way, I guess. But I think they're meant to go this way. So yeah, there is the Infinity Gauntlet. All gold and glorious. Underneath it is the card storage. Again, I want to look at what these power-up cards are. So this is interesting. There's this little divider here that comes out. I wonder why that's removable. because it looks like you could store cards up here and down here as well. Wonder what that's for. There's certainly lots of room in this one as compared to some of the other ones. So I am specifically pulling out some of these other cards here. Yeah, these all appear to be kind of the standard villain cards, but these are interesting. So this one, you know, and they are different. You know, the backs are all different. And then the fronts are all different. So that's kind of cool. And then there's all of these, which are wrapped up into Thanos' deck, are the Infinity Stones. So I know that you mix these in with, I guess, Thanos' deck, so that these come out every, you know, third or fourth card or something like that. Thanos, from now on, heroes must ignore one each turn. From now on, heroes must play their hero card randomly on their turn. Ooh, what? Thanos gains 6 health. Wow. Put already completed mission cards back into play. Ay, ay, ay. Play 2 other master plan cards in sequence. Deal 1 damage to each hero in the game. Goodness gracious. Those are nasty. Okay. So that is a look at the cards. Let's just take a quick look at the miniatures and then we'll move on here to some of our other stuff. So here is Thanos himself. Almost appears like he's not wearing his helmet. That's the unhelmeted look by him. And here is Ebony Maw. There's a look at Thanos. Up next is going to be the Black Dwarf. And then Proxima Midnight. Okay, so that is essentially the Infinity Gauntlet expansion for Marvel United. This will probably be one of the first expansions that I play, and I will be sure to get some of it on camera. So be looking forward to this here in the future. Let's see if we can get this back into the box properly. I guess it goes like that, and then everything else this goes back on, I believe. So that is one thing that I have just come to grips with here, is that this game, I guess you could tear it all apart and store it up into several minor boxes, but for the most part you are dealing with all of these expansion boxes stacked up neatly amongst themselves if you really want to keep everything perfectly safe. I'll be interesting to see if there are people who come out with these kind of all-in storage solutions where they try and fit everything into like the base box and the stretch goal box or something like that. It probably can be done, but I really don't have a problem with these expansion boxes. They're not huge. They're not taking up too much space on my shelf. So, all right. Next up, we are going to take a look at Guardians of the Galaxy. So, Guardians of the Galaxy, we have already seen many of the Guardians. So this one's got Gamora, Star-Lord, Groot, and Rocket Raccoon, along with Ronan there. So, let's see, is anything different with Guardians of the Galaxy? Simply one-page sheet here, but this does say their Plan B challenge. So you can actually, it looks like you're giving me 3 additional mission cards, which, if you notice, there's like more bystander spots, more thug spots in all of the mission spots here. So what this is saying is that instead of actually attacking and defeating Ronan, you could simply complete all 3 missions to win the game. You have to play with the Plan B mission cards, however. So here's some more of those KO tokens. And then everything's actually underneath here. So they keep kind of mixing up their storage strategy here, which is interesting. But let's take a look at the Guardians locations. I will have to admit, one of the things that, pretty much the only thing that I did not, or the only thing that I regret not backing is the thicker locations. I think it would be nice to just have all of those kind of in one central box. Nowhere. Xandar. Morag. Collector's Museum. Kiln. And back to the Milano. Okay, so there's the locations. It should just come with one. Yep, one hero board here. Ronan is... Heroes lose when the group has 4 KO tokens. Whenever a hero is KO'd. Whenever a hero is KO'd, they get a KO token. Okay. Alright, so there's not a whole lot in here except for, you know, the cards, the minis, and I guess the Plan B cards are in there somewhere. So let's just take a look at the miniatures here. Here is Star-Lord. His base does appear to be a little bit more futuristic. He doesn't appear to be standing in like the streets of New York City. So there is Star-Lord. Here is Rocket Raccoon. He is standing on what appears to be a jet engine. So he's pretty small little guy there. So there's Rocket Raccoon. Here's Groot. I'm a little disappointed that Groot is not bigger, taller in a way. I feel like they stretched the length out, but maybe they just, I don't know, there's a lot of space down here. They could have shifted everything down and made Groot like one of the taller figures. I feel like we definitely saw some taller figures, like the Daredevil is taller than Groot, and that doesn't make any sense. So there's Rocket Raccoon. Groot's up there. Here is Gamora. She's got a big old sword. And last but not least is Ronan. His thing appears to be bent there, but it is solid. Maybe it's supposed to look like that. Alright, so that is the Guardians of the Galaxy expansion. So not quite as much new gameplay elements as was in, where was this? This was just sitting on top. As was in the Infinity Gauntlet one. So it'll be interesting to see what these other things offer. Alright, let's move on to a few more. Alright, here we have the Tales of Asgard, aka the Thor expansion. This one, again, does not appear to add a whole lot of super different stuff. It's the standard kind of 4 heroes and 1 villain. I guess other than the tokens, I'm really wondering what you don't have. I guess technically the dashboard, the villain dashboard, but you know how it says that this is core boxes needed to enjoy the expansion. You're really not missing a whole lot if you were to end up with just this in front of you. So alright, let's see what Asgard has to offer here. It's another single sheet. Okay, so they're introducing the trader mechanic. Trader challenge can only be used in 3 to 4 player games, so that is interesting. I've yet to play it with up to 3 people, but yeah, this seems like it could be really interesting. And I know that a lot of people who are able to get in larger game groups together do enjoy a good trader mechanic, so that's cool. It seems like everything is offering even a little something. So here's the mistrust tokens. I guess you can pass to somebody. Let's take a look at the locations here. These locations, I think, were some of the best looking ones as far as, like, artwork and fun to visit. So the observatory, Odin's Vault. There we go. Bifrost Bridge. That's a cool one. Asgardian Palace. And the Throne Room and Valhalla. Valhalla was a cool one. You may discard any number of cards from your hand to the bottom of your deck and draw back that many. Discarding all hand does not KO. So, there are the locations. Again, just a single villain in this one. So here is Loki's board. What's he doing to us? When a hero is KO'd, Loki doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, draw another master playing card and add it face. Okay. So, yeah, not a whole lot. If one or more tokens can't be added to a location, Loki gains 1 additional health. May go above his starting health value. Okay. So that's interesting. Looks like nothing else here but a bunch of cards. Ooh, here's the Trader Challenge card. Setup: each player gets 1 Allegiance card, 1 Mistrust token, and 1 free Wild token. A hero may choose to play their hero card face down to discard their Mistrust token. Once 2 missions are completed, players guess the traitor. If correct, gain 1 Wild token, and loyal heroes still with Mistrust take damage until KO'd. Interesting. Traitor is removed and now plays the villain role, drawing 2 master plan cards and playing each turn. What's interesting is that in the next round of Marvel United, which is the X-Men team, which I am beyond excited about because the X-Men are by far my most favorite of the Marvel superheroes, they actually have rules in which you play as the villain. And that's just a common occurrence. You can either, and Magneto is playable as both the villain and a good guy. So, anyways, let's take a look at some of the miniatures here. Here is Beta Ray Bill. It's definitely a fun miniature. And then we have Korg, who looks surprisingly a lot like the Thing from the Fantastic Four. Yeah, like we haven't seen the Fantastic Four yet. Trying to think of what other entities we have not yet gotten to see. What other Marvel heroes we're missing out on. So there's Korg. How is Beta Ray Bill in there? How do you go back in? How do you fit in here, sir? I feel like I'm missing something. There we go. Alright, and Valkyrie. And Thor, of course. As soon as this campaign started and Thor was not in the core box, everyone was like, okay, there's definitely going to be a Thor add-on, an Asgardian add-on or some sort. So there is Thor. And last but not least is Loki. Some comically large horns on his helmet. Okay, so that is the Tales of Asgard expansion. That one's pretty straightforward, but again, this one adds the trader mechanic. So Guardians of the Galaxy gave us the Plan B or Plan B missions. Infinity Gauntlet gave us like a little mini campaign and a whole lot, actually, additional replay value. And Tales of Asgard has given us the trader mechanic. So let's see what else we might acquire here. Let's move on to the Rise of the Black Panther. Alright, so Rise of the Black Panther is going to be adding, I don't know what these numbers mean, but they obviously are some component that's unique to this expansion. So let's take a look. Alright, let's see here, another single sheet instruction manual. I'm just surprised there wasn't even this in the stretch goal box explaining how the villains, some of them work. So let's see here. The Endangered Locations Challenge creates a bond between each hero and a specific location. They must make sure their location remains under control or risk being KO'd. Okay, during setup, each player is given a pair of matching endangered location tokens. Each player selects a different location and places one of their tokens there, keeping the other next to their hero deck. Whenever the villain should place tokens on a location that has an endangered location token, but that location is full, the hero with the corresponding endangered location token takes 1 damage. Okay, so this is interesting. Other than calling it the Endangered Locations Challenge, let's see. Alright, so again, a few more unique tokens. And let's check out these endangered locations now. The Golden City, the Great Mound. Okay. All right, Jabari Village, Royal Palace. None of these places look endangered. I was expecting, like, the White Lion Prairie or something. Shree's Lab and Warrior Falls. So I'm wondering if you can play with this endangered locations module with any location, or does it have to be one of the Black Panther locations? So here's Killmonger. What's he doing? The heroes lose when 4 or more locations have 3 or more crisis tokens. Then replace the leftmost token there if present with a crisis token. Okay. And if 1 or more tokens can't be added to a location, replace the leftmost token in Killmonger's location with a crisis token. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. So doesn't appear to be any. Okay, just a simple card for the Endangered Locations Challenge. And now we have this very standard looking tray that we're seeing a lot. Simply the only difference is this actually only has 3 miniatures. So let's take a look here at the Winter Soldier. I feel like they could have made his arm look a little bit more bionic. So there is the Winter Soldier. Here is Shuri with her boxing gloves. She's got great detail on the face. Her like patterned makeup on her face is visible for all to see. That's pretty cool. Alright, then we have the Black Panther himself. Should be a pretty easy paint job. Black primer, done. Done and done. I guess you got to give him some silver highlights a few places, but still, easiest paint job ever. Alright. And then last but not least, Killmonger. He's a pretty cool miniature with that big old headdress there. His base definitely seems more Earth-like, you know, not like New York City streets and not foreign alien planet. Very much just salt of the earth. So that is the Rise of the Black Panther location. So the whole notion of linking you to a specific location is interesting. Whoops, forgot to put Killmonger back. But I would have to say, out of all of the expansions we've seen so far, this one is probably the least exciting of the three. But you never know. The heroes inside this box may be the best to play with. So, only time will tell. But let's move on. We've got 2 more to go. Okay, here we have the Enter the Spiderverse. So this is the Spider-Man one. This is another one that everyone, as soon as the main campaign launched, and he was not a main character, everybody was like, where the heck is Spider-Man? So we knew, of course, he was getting his own box. I see some additional tokens. This one, of course, has Spider-Pig, which is just awesome, or Spider-Ham. And Spider-Man probably has one of the coolest bases in the game, and I remember them reworking this after hearing some feedback within the campaign, which is always good to hear. You know, Come On Games definitely has made some mistakes in the past, or made some missteps, but they also do things right sometimes. So let's take a look here. Another 1-page sheet. So what are we adding this time? Green Goblin has special setup instructions, secret identity challenge. The secret identity challenge can be added to any game, not just when exploring the Spiderverse. This challenge places journalist tokens in some locations, always watching the hero's actions. You can send actions to move them out of the way, but if you keep engaging in heroics or fights when they're around, you'll eventually be exposed. When a hero in a location with a journalist token performs any actions other than move, including using your hero's special effect, that hero gets 1 exposure token. Okay. During their turn, a hero can use a heroic action to move any journalist token to an adjacent location. Keep in mind that moving a journalist from your location will get you an exposure token. Wow. Not so sure about this one. Maybe these will just be some amazing miniatures to paint. So, there are all the exposure and journalist tokens. Here we are back to having 4 heroes and 1 villain in the box. Okay, the Brooklyn Bridge. I thought we already had the Brooklyn Bridge, but that's fine. The Daily Bugle. Osborne Labs. Oscorp Tower. And Queens. Oh, and Midtown High School. Okay, so there's the locations. Let's see what Green Goblin. Do not place the threat cards and tokens on the locations. Keep the cards in a face-down threat deck and the threat tokens in a side pool. Interesting. When a threat is cleared, shuffle it into the deck and add a threat token from the pool to the mission card. Green Goblin can't be damaged if there are any villains on this dashboard. Okay. Interesting. The heroes lose when all locations have a threat. Okay, so that's a little interesting. let's see what this setup card says. Hero may use this to move anything. When a hero in a location with any performs any actions other than move, they get a exposure. A hero with 3 exposure, 3 is exposed, take 1 damage, play their next card face down. Not so sure if I'm as big of a fan of this module, but let's take a look at some of the miniatures, because there's a pig in a spider costume. Who doesn't love that? So there is Spider Ham. And then we have Miles Morales. I know that he is a very popular figure right now. And then we have Ghost Spider, or Spider-Gwen, right? Or is Ghost Spider and Spider-Gwen not the same person? I'm afraid I don't know the answer to that question. But there is Spider-Gwen. And last but not least, with probably the second best base, I'm going to have to give the best base to Ant-Man because he is on a quarter. But this is probably the second best base of the game, the portion of the wall. And then last but not least is the Green Goblin, which isn't bad. They've got him riding his, I forget what the name of his flight hovercraft thing is, but looks like it's taken off. That's pretty good. I feel like that face is really Green Goblin. Maybe it just needs to be green. That's the problem. Okay, so that is the Enter the Spiderverse expansion. So if I am ranking them, I probably would put this one just barely above Rise of the Black Panther, because I'm not 100% sure how much these little extra modules are going to add to gameplay. I feel like this module is probably easily the one I will play with the least amount, because it just seems confusing and making the game more complicated than it needs to be. We'll give it a shot, but I definitely like the miniatures from this expansion over the Black Panther expansion, partially just because I get one extra one here, but the Spider-Man, the Spider-Ham, Ghost Spider, these are all great miniatures. So beyond that, if I'm still ranking them, we're probably looking at Tales of Asgard, then Guardians of the Galaxy. Infinity Gauntlet is definitely the best of the expansions so far. Alright, so last but not least here is the return of the Sinister Six. So similar to the Infinity Gauntlet, this is nothing but bad guys, which I think is really good because the stretch goal box was very heavy on the good guys. But this one probably adds the biggest change in the game element, because it adds, we'll see here in a second, this kind of centralized villain dashboard here, where you're dealing with all 6 of these guys, I believe, at the same time. So let's definitely check this one out now. Alright, so as expected, this one has a little bit of a beefier rule book. Do not pick any villain dashboard. Instead, place the larger Sinister Six dashboard. Okay, so this is the Sinister Six mode. You can play against these guys as individual villains, or the Sinister Six dashboard is placed in the middle. And each one gets a very specific threat. So, and there it is. So this, out of all the expansions, minus maybe playing with the Infinity Stones, is probably what I am most excited about playing. and feel like would definitely give the gameplay a good twist. So lots of rules going on here. I'm not going to look at all this, but basically it looks like each one has its own threat card, and until you deal with their threat card, then you can't damage them. And it's like, who do you pick first? There's 6 guys, 6 locations. They're going to be running around all over the place. It just seems like mass chaos. So weak spot card, that's interesting. So here are the dashboards. Here's Mysterio. As long as there are no broken illusion threat cards face up, Mysterio can't take any damage. To turn a threat card face up, any hero in its location must spend a single action of any type. Alright, Kraven. When a hero is KO'd, Kraven doesn't. Okay, yep. The heroes lose if all are KO'd at the same time. We've seen all this before. Heroes lose if Sandman reaches 20 health. Okay. Sandman gains 2 health. Deal 1 damage to each hero in Sandman's location. Wow. Electro. If a crisis token should be placed on a location that already has one, place the crisis token on the next clockwise location. Heroes lose if all locations in play have a crisis token. Vulture. Steal 1 crisis token from Vulture's location if available. Then move all heroes to the location opposite to Vulture. Heroes lose if Vulture has obtained enough crisis tokens based on player count. It's spoils. And last but not least is Dr. Octopus. When a location has 3 crisis tokens, it is destroyed. Remove it from play. The heroes lose if 4 or more locations are destroyed. I feel like he really didn't have that much power, but okay. So there are the villain dashboards. Where to start here? I think we should start with Kraven up here. See, I wonder if this... I feel like this is not supposed to be bent like that. Yeah, we can definitely... Was that the only way it's ever going to go in? It's a packaging error. We'll have to see about that, but it can be fixed. But is it always just going to go back to crooked? Alright, and then next we have Dr. Octopus. This is a pretty cool miniature. He is supported entirely on 3 out of his 4 arms. Here is a Electro. A lot of electricity going on. These are some pretty decent miniatures in this little pack. Here, I would probably definitely go after this one. Probably Infinity Gauntlet first, because that one had so many locations added to it. But then I'd probably go after this one next, if I was picking these up out of retail and they were all available. Sandman's interesting. He doesn't have a standard base. Because he's nothing but sand. Actually, it looks a little dirty, which is somewhat appropriate, but Primer's going to cover all that up anyways. Electro goes up here. Here is Vulture, another cool. I like the ones with the wings. Falcon and Vulture. These guys are both just pretty cool miniatures. Very dynamic with the wings. And last but not least is Mysterio with a perfectly just smooth head. It's going to be very interesting figuring out how to paint that so it looks cool. He's a cool miniature. He's like floating on his gaseous substance there. He's got the nice shiny globe head. All right, and then weak spot cards. I am just curious as to what a weak spot card is, so let's take a quick peek at what this top card says it is. Okay, weak spot. Dr. Octopus can be damaged until this is completed. Okay, so this must be what covers them up in the Sinister Six mode. Each of them has a weak spot. Yep. And then let's see what this is. Return of the Sinister Six. So this looks like what your master plan cards are instead of the individual villain master plan cards. Return to activate all undefeated villains. Start with Dr. Octopus and go clockwise on the dashboard. 1 and then bam. So let's see what some of these other ones look like. Look at that. Do we go in that order? Yeah, because these are all different orders of things, but it appears that every single one of them are activating every turn, unless this particular line here actually means something. So, but that's interesting that they get their own very own set of master plan cards, and each one has these unique weak spot cards that you have to defeat before you can even then damage them as villains. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is all of the Marvel United content. The only thing we are missing is the cardboard locations, which would be no different from the locations we just featured today, and the mat, which I have yet to play the game playing in a circle. I really don't see the point, but Sinister Six, it looks like they're going to force me to play in a circle, but that's fine too. We'll figure it out. But otherwise, that is it for our massive unboxing of Marvel United. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, including playthroughs of all of these expansions, I'm going to try and play as many different heroes and many different villains as possible on the channel until we are all completely tired of Marvel United. If you want to be a part of that, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.